Hi and welcome back to the channel. Today a quick review. This is completely off the cuff, it's just an impulse purchase. I was out mowing today with a Honda HRX 537, absolutely fantastic mower. If you haven't got one, go and get one, you won't be sorry. Unfortunately she threw a wheel, however she has done many miles, so you can't blame her. She's in the shop being fixed, so all being well she'll be back soon. What did I get? I went and got a Grin. Are these new pulverizing mowers. It's essentially a mulch mower with this newfangled conical sort of underside next to the blade, and they've got this little propeller that keeps the grass in suspension within the deck, and it chops it all up nice and fine, and then it pulverizes it down into the ground and hides it right down next to the soil, allegedly. So this model I've got is the PM53A KW, and it's a Kawasaki engine, it's 4-stroke petrol engine. Who knew? At the end of the day, the details are all online, you can look them up. I'm not going to bore you with those. What I'm going to tell you about is how I actually found it while I was using it. So without further ado, let's go and see how this pig did.
Okay, so here she is, the Grin. She is not, as you can see, the prettiest of things. She's been hit fairly severely with the ugly stick. But having been out and used it now, I can give you a first-hand experience of what it was like and the finish it gave. And so just to quickly talk you through it, you've got here that blue handle there. This is the up and down thing. So basically here's your height adjuster, up and downable for everyone, quite simple. Now I find that even on the lower settings for regular lawns, it probably could have done with just a fraction lower. However, it was okay. It was just low enough to do what you needed to do. Basically just squeeze, lift, pull, one-handed, and you can see here quite easy the operation. It's pretty nice, it's smooth, works, looks solid, can't complain. It's got a nice little bumper at the front, which I actually thought was pretty cool, and it doesn't get caught in everything. I find that it was actually quite small and neat, and the way it's positioned, it does the job. It protects the wheels, but it just doesn't get into everything else, which is, you know, brilliant. Obviously the big black thing on top is the engine, and that is, it says on there, Kawasaki, for all those engine nerds. Pretty serious big wheels at the back. It's obviously self-propelled, this mower, and that is obviously operated from up here with these handles. Now these handles, to start the beast, you will need to grip up the red handle, the nanny state handle, which will drive you insane, frankly. It's comfortable to use, yes, but when you're going along next to a holly hedge or pyracantha or something like that, you know, sometimes you do want to lift your hand off of the mower just to sort of get past, keep on pushing, and then put your hand back on. The problem is, every time you release this, it turns off. Both levers, both of them are actually comfortable to use. However, these are clearly the mouth breather department levers for anyone that doesn't understand that putting your hand head or any part of your extremities into a spinning blade is just not on, and will do you no favors at all. You've got the drive here, so you know, it'll obviously just take you forward. You've got 2 speed controls. To be honest, for me, I find it too slow. Now it's obviously set for a reason at a certain speed, at a certain RPM, to get the best out of the blades and the chopping of the grass and whatnot. However, I'm used to the Honda HRX 537, and you can literally sprint behind that. I just find this too pedestrian for my liking. The thing that I didn't like at all was the throttle. I don't like the throttle body up here. You've got min max, as you might imagine, so obviously min and max and choke down here, but the difference between choke and running, the choke and the fast part of it, so what would normally be the rabbit, so for the rabbit, it needs a bit of a gap, or it just needs a stopper or something, just to say, here's the optimum choke, here's the optimum sort of maximum. I didn't like the fact that it's a bit ambiguous and you've got to search for it a little bit. It could have been more defined, in my opinion. The actual item is really heavy. It's got all the maneuverability and agility of a heavily sedated elephant, and to be honest, probably the looks of one too. She's a pretty ugly piece of equipment. She's solid, don't get me wrong. She's well built, certainly, but she is an absolute pig to push around the lawns. If you're used to throwing around a plastic body Honda that's got better weight distribution, it's got a longer handle at the back here where you've got an offset of the leverage, you will find this hard. I'm no wallflower, and I found that my wrists were crying for a break after a very short period of time. The problem is that all the weight is here, centered there, and because you've only got a very short handle system here, and it then comes back up rather than going out here, it does make it very heavy to lift the move. You've got to put some serious effort to counterbalance that, and when you're doing tight turns or doing flat lawns, tight turns, or in around bushes and stuff, it is actually quite a workout. Now this is an embankment mower. It is a pressurised engine, so it's designed to go up on angles and up hills and do all that crazy stuff your usual mower can't do. So yes, you're more likely to be using this on rough ground and areas that are not fancy pants lawns. So you've got to sort of look at it for what it is. The actual results, the actual proof of the pudding while using it on fancy lawns, as it happens, or not even fancy lawns, just regular half decent lawns, was actually very, very good. I was really impressed with it. A couple of my clients actually said, wow, that is a really nice finish, and I have to agree with them. Granted, it was very dry at the time. It's rained since, and I haven't had an opportunity to use it in the wet yet, so I don't know whether or not we're going to get that clagging on the underside of the deck, which is quite classic when it all just gets totally mashed up underneath, and it just doesn't want to work. But when I used it in the dry, it did give an absolutely lovely finish. I couldn't see any swarf on the top at all. One tip I would give you is, if you are using it, when you turn it off, don't leave it stood still when you turn it off, because everything will drop out from underside of the deck and create a nice little green ring for you. Either pop it into a hedge and just lift it up and turn it off and let the swath fall out, or just let it come to an idle and turn itself off, but keep the wheels moving, push it along and let the grass fall down and distribute itself over the lawn, and then it will just camouflage right in. I'll show you if I can. Let's see if I can just tip this pig over. Right, hang on. Oh, actually she goes over quite nicely. Right, here we go. So you can see this conical, I want to call it a dish. I guess it is a dish or something. This conical area here. Let's see, get that there, and then you see this little sort of propeller. See it there? The blade is quite different looking to what you'd normally expect. You see these high lift blades with various sort of bits of aero on them and whatnot. It's got a bit of a shape to it. And as you can see, the underside is actually, it's pretty clear. It's not clagged up at all. One thing about this is very clean. It's very clear lines. There's not lots of areas for the grass to get clagged and get caught, unlike other mowers, where if you've got a dual use mower where you've got one of these levers that you can push across, just like the Honda HRX, it's a multi-use mower. You can do a various amount of things with it. It doesn't have all that plastic and all those nooks and crannies that the grass can get stuck in, so that's pretty nice to see there. Now there are some adjusters down here. I haven't looked into them too hard. There we go. Right, so you can actually move that from the position, and I've moved them back now. You can probably just see the difference from where it was before. However, now I find when I stand behind it, I feel a bit like Gulliver. I'm not exactly tall, 6 foot odd, but it still feels a little bit low to where I'm used to. And because this is actually quite a short span and the engine's set quite far forward, and it is a bit of a beast of an engine, it's a big old counterbalance that. It's still heavy. Granted, I could have probably moved it back while trying it, and I didn't. I had it in the more upright position. So that is the leant over position. And we come down here, usual type of affair. Just move that back up, twist them in. Look at that, I'm doing it left-handed, and I can't do anything left-handed. There we go. So fair play to that operation. It's actually very simple to use. If I can do that left-handed, then that is a very good compliment. Anyway, as you can see, it's back up to this more vertical position here, but I think because you lose so much with this design here, where it could be coming out here a bit more, you've lost that counterbalance. But you know, oh blimey, yeah, she is heavy to deal with like this, heavy. So I'd have probably liked to have seen a bit more length in here. I'm sure there'll be some fangled idea about it's meant to be some more compact, get in amongst all the undergrowth, and you know, easy to put in your van and store. Yeah, all of those things are very true. Something else that I noticed while I was walking behind it was the height adjuster here. So the height adjuster itself, as I told you, is pretty good, works quite nicely. However, what I did notice was this. Look, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it? You know what it's like when you go around these gardens and people have got tons of paraphernalia everywhere. There's just junk and all sorts of stuff, or there's branches or whatever. This is actually just a very, very, look at that, very flimsy piece of metal there. I mean, it does the job, sure, and you're going to have to be careful you don't knock it and bend it. It appears to be held in by a rivet there. I don't know why on earth they didn't put a bolt through it with like a nylock on it or something. I don't know, there'll be some reason other than cost, one would assume.
Okay, the Grin mower, what do I think of it? It's heavy, it's pig ugly. It's got all the poise and agility of a heavily staked elephant. It's got nanny state levers. It's got a really awkward set of handlebars on it, which for me the weight distribution just makes my wrists ache almost immediately. It's well built, it's solid. I mean, it's heavy, but it is solid. It's really nicely put together from the point of view that the deck and the actual construction of that's really nice. With that said, I'm not a fan of the height adjuster lever bar. That could be a little bit more rigid. That's a little bit cheap, frankly. It just needs a bit more rigidity. You shouldn't be able to bend it and kick it like that, because it's just going to end up waggling, getting caught in things and bending. No doubt about that. Am I disappointed with it? No. It's absolutely great little mower by the looks of things. It's just going to take some time. You know, we all fear change. Just going to get some time, some muscle memory to get used to using it, because it is a very different kettle of fish to say using a lightweight, fast moving Honda. She is sluggish, there's just no doubt about it. She is slow, and you know, you just want to go at least twice the speed, but presumably Grin have figured out all the nerdy maths and whatnot to make the blade spin at the right speed for the wheels, therefore it can actually do what it needs to do on the underside where all the magic happens, which is fair enough. It's just that I'm used to something that's a little bit more snappy and punchy. So there you have it. If you want one, go and buy one. I'd imagine you wouldn't be disappointed if you've got a lot of mulching to do. Make up your own minds, give it a go, get one on demo, see what you think. Catch you next time.
And I get to tend the rabbits.